Here's a quick video to show you how to program the globals on Riff-Step. You can do it either with or without the CME emulator. With CME, you won't have to interpret the LEDs, you'll just be able to see what setting you're affecting. Make sure you have the correct USB MIDI device selected, and that you're on channel 15. And when you plug in Riff-Step, you'll see information displayed. To get into the globals menu, you hold down the tap button as you power on Riff-Step. When you release the tap button, you're on the first step, which is setting the MIDI receive channel. The default is 15. You can change the channel by turning the knob. We recommend leaving it on 15 unless you have a good reason to change it. Press the tap button again to advance. This is where you select your whammy type. Now hopefully you did this correctly when you first powered on your Riff-Step. If you ever buy a different whammy, this is where you can change the whammy type. You turn the knob to select. And then if you wanted to change the whammy type, you'd press the tap button. And then Riff-Step asks you if you're sure that you want to change them, because it's going to erase all of your presets if you do this. To say yes, you turn the knob, then you'd press the tap button again, but we're going to say no because we don't want to change it. So to go to the next step, you press tap again. And now we're on tap autoplay. With this global, you can decide whether you want a tap tempo sequence to start playing right when you switch to it, or if you want it to wait until you press the step button to start the sequence playing. The default is yes. If you want to change it, just turn the knob. The fourth global is the loop off setting. This is where you decide what setting your whammy jumps to when you stop a tap tempo sequence playing. The default is to go to the 2 octave up, but it sets the treadle in the virtual toe up position, so it's actually a unison setting. If you want it to go to step 1 of your sequence instead, just turn the knob, and the left block of LEDs means step 1. The next global is the Q loop. With this setting, you can decide whether a new loop starts playing as soon as it's selected, or if the old one plays out before the new one begins. The default is that they always queue up instead of cutting off another loop, but you can switch that to never, or you can decide what types of presets will cut off the other loop. MIDI clock, tap tempo sequences, or tap old. When you're programming tap tempo sequences, you can either program in a tempo, or you can say use whatever the existing tempo is. We call that tap old. We'll switch it back to the default. Next, if you wanted to dump all of your program data and either store it on your computer or program another Riff-Step, if you need one for your touring rig and one for your studio, this is where you would do it. We're not going to dump the data right now, but all the information on how to do it is in the online owner's manual. The final global determines the number of presets that you can access from the pedal itself. With MIDI, you can access all 128 programs, but with the pedal, the maximum is 16. The default is to allow you to access all 16. But let's say you only use Riff-Step for a few different things. You can say I only want to use 4 presets, and then when you're stepping through the presets to select them, instead of having to step through all 16, it'll jump back to number 1 after it hits number 4. Of course, you can always hold down the step button and reverse direction when you're selecting presets, but sometimes it's convenient just to limit the number of presets to the number that you actually use. Now, when you've gotten all the globals how you like them, just hold down the tap button, and you'll see the smile of LEDs, and CME says global saved. And then Riff-Step goes back into its startup routine. So that's how you change your globals on Riff-Step. There's lots more information over at stepaudio.net.